don't like that idea for a couple reasons. Number one, the fans, we need them in our game, but also, I don't. Do they think people just gonna stay at home if they don't go to sporting events? I mean, I think that's the thing that's stupid about it. Obviously, we want to be safe, but if they cancel an event, I don't think people not gonna go to work or going out in the world.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing that's. Hey, wait, they're not just going to sit at home because they canceled a sporting event. That makes no sense whatsoever.
So that's what he thinks, and we wanted to put some of our players around us here and find out what you guys think. And Matt, we've already heard from you, but for those who are just joining us, I'd like you to get back into what you were saying before, that because Brian Windhorst is telling us there's a conference call amongst the NBA owners today, and he expects significant decisions to come from that, up to and including the possibility that immediately they will ban fans from NBA arenas and that nothing is off the table, which would include even a suspension of the season. And you were saying that you think most NBA players would rather suspend the season than play in front of empty seats.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fans are such a big part of our game. The arenas jump in at this time of the season. It's a stretch run for the playoffs. You need a little extra boost, some adrenaline, some motivation, and that's what the fans bring you. We're going to have a semi-pro game out there with Jackie Moon performing at halftime. Next thing we know, it's going to be a completely different atmosphere, and I hope that suspending fans from the game is the last possible objective.
My guess, and it's probably not a good idea to guess about anything, but I would guess that would come well before they would suspend the season, because
Right.
Suspending the season comes with a host of other ramifications you don't want to get involved in, which can include changing dates, and we don't know how long this would go. Now, basketball and football are very different games, and the way they are consumed is very different. The fans are basically right there on the floor with you guys. In football, it's not nearly that way. How would you feel about it, Key?
Well, I certainly would want the fans there, but if the people that know about this way more than we do advise, and I'm talking about people in health, advise the league or our teams that fans shouldn't be in the arenas because of our safety, because much like Charles said, we're going out anyway. But if that's the way they feel, then I'm okay with it, because I'm going to still play the game, because I love to play football. And it's not, for me, playing football is not necessarily focused in on the fans, it's focused in on you and what I'm going to do to you as my opponent. So when I'm on the field, I'm getting after you. I'm trying to bust you know what to you. So my mentality is a little bit different in terms of the NBA, the NFL, with the fans being on top of you, getting that energy. We practice, and the way we practice is like playing anyway, especially when I play. You practice 4 days a week. It was like playing 2 games, man.
I think new age athletes, I can't speak for all, but it's a generalization, might be different. I think you play sports for 3 inherent reasons. You play for faith, finances, and to a degree the fans. And I think that the fans bring that juice. They bring that energy. To Keith's point, usually before the preseason, you have inter-squad scrimmages. 3 years in a row, we were against the Patriots, against the Panthers, and against the Ravens. It's different when it's just you and your teammates, rah-rah, and when you got a whole stadium of fans out there, and after you make a big play, you celebrating the crowd noise. I can't attest to basketball, but I can attest to college and the NFL. It's hard to play a game that is driven emotionally by the fans without the fans. It's just very hard to do.
I created so much trash talk that I was going to create. That's real talk. Yeah, regardless, I was going to get at you, Greeny, where my focus was on you and not on the fans. I'll spike the ball in front of you. I was doing things to get me up.
It's fascinating, the dynamic of this. It's so different, because for anyone who knows the history of sport, and while you guys were all getting ready to be a player, I was just reading books about sports. And one of the reasons they continued to play baseball, for example, during World War II, you probably are aware that Ted Williams and Joe DiMaggio were fighting in World War II, but they continued to play because they felt the country needed that diversion. It was important. Well, now you're taking that and you're really sort of flipping it on its ear. We would love to have the diversion, if indeed you view this as a national crisis. You would love to have the diversion of sports available. But if it becomes a situation where you're endangering the health and well-being of all of the people in the building, up to and including the players, it obviously changes the dynamic.
I just, like you said, we've been speaking on our show, this is uncharted territory. There's nothing to fall back on. So-and-so, we did this back then, or they did this. This is new. So this is from here forward. We're charting unprecedented territory. And from today on, it's going to be a precedent for something to possibly happen in the future.
There's so many elements to all of this, and this one is minor in it, but you're going to be able to hear everything that's being said on a court or maybe even on a field, which is also another dynamic to all of it.
Yeah, it certainly will look and feel different. Again, we don't know for certain this is going to happen, but again, Brian Windhorst reporting there'll be a conference call amongst the NBA owners today, and to use his term, and he'll join us back here in a moment, everything is on the table. All right, after we continue, after statement wins this weekend, LeBron and the Lakers were brought back to earth with a loss to the Nets. Was that a bump in the road or a big deal? They'll talk about that and more on First Take. That's 12 minutes from now on ESPN.
Not having the fans, because that's what I play for. I play for my family. I play for my fans. They're saying no one could actually come to the game if they decide to go to that point. So I'll be disappointed in that. But at the same time, you gotta listen to the people that's keeping a track on what's going on, and if they feel like it's best for the safety of the players, the safety of the franchise, safety of the league, to mandate that, then we all listen to it.
So that's where we are. Let's talk about where we're going. Brian Windhorst is here, our NBA insider. No one is more plugged in. And for those who are just joining us, let's share what is happening today and what it means.
It's a very rare situation to have the NBA owners on a conference call. This just does not happen, and this indicates the severity of what they're dealing with. It is going to be a new normal in American sports, effective pretty much immediately. Everything is on the table, is what I have been told by participants in the league in this, preparing for this call. Any contingency that you could imagine, suspending league operations, moving games, certainly having fans come out. I think that's, I would say, based on what I'm hearing, a likelihood at this point.
That they will play without fans.
They will play without fans in the short-term future, and that was something that will come out of this call today. This is just the way it's going to be, and I think it's important to realize that their number one priority is to protect the players. Obviously, they're concerned about the fans as well, but the reason that they've taken these measures is to keep the players safe, because if a player or even a coach were to come down with COVID-19, you would almost certainly have to suspend operations for the season. For the league. They're trying to avoid that in addition to protecting their players.
And it is, I think, worth reminding everyone that in China 2 months ago, they had to face similar decisions. And what did they do? Yeah,
the Chinese Basketball Association has been shut down since, I think, January 25th. They have not played any games in 2 months. They're bringing the players back now, and they're looking at an April restart to their league, when their league is normally over by March. Normally, they're ending their season right now, and they're basically on hiatus. That is something that the NBA is going to look at. But the thing that you have to realize, there is no plan here. They do not have a plan. So they are dealing with the crisis as it happens every day while trying to develop a plan that they have no contingencies for. Things are developing as we go on.
Well, it's worth reminding everyone, this probably should go without saying, but there is no history here to fall back on. This sort of thing has not happened before. So they would be you defend them easily by saying, well, we can't just fall back on any past history. And it is ever developing. You have different governments and municipalities making different decisions. Laura just read you, the governor of Ohio has made this decision. So that's going to impact the Cleveland Cavaliers immediately, we would think. So this is fluid, but a lot of decisions will be made today.
Yeah, and some of this is going to be made by the local governments. You know, the San Jose Sharks can't play with fans in their building because the government decided that. It seems like San Francisco is on the verge of that with the Chase Center. So some of this is not even going to be in the league's hands. But there's no going back here. Yeah. It's only going to be going forward. And I think there's going to be games without fans. And the question in 4 or 5 days or a week or whatever is, are there going to be games at all?
How long, if we do go that route, how long do we keep the fans out? This is really uncharted territory. Like you said, this is history in the making, so to speak. So it's going to be interesting. I know as a former player, the last thing we would want to do is play without our fans. I mean, we do everything for our fans. We are who we are because of our fans. So but at the same time, we have to stay proactive instead of reactive, and that's what you're seeing around the country right now. So it's going to be an interesting next few days.
So if you were told as a player, you either have the choice to suspend the season, pick it up some other time, or play the season without fans.
I think as a player, we'd rather suspend and wait to see what's going on. Yeah. Because like I said, I think just the energy of the building, this time of the year, you need that extra kick, you need that adrenaline boost, and to play in front of 20,000 empty seats would be hard to do.
Something else happens to them to play. In the playoffs, the revenue from the gate is enormous.
Extraordinary.
If they lost gate revenue from playoff games, we could see a fall of the salary cap next year. Not that that's the number one priority, but trust me, that will be discussed amongst the billionaires on the call today.
Well, it is worth saying, again, that happens either way. If you delay the season, if you just shut operations down for a period of time, we don't know how long we're talking about. It would be very easy to say, yeah, we'll shut it down, we'll come back in 2 weeks, and we'll pick up where we left off.
hard
Now
to
all of a
say.
sudden you wake up 2 months later and you haven't done anything, and now this season starts bleeding into what was supposed to be next season.
That's what's happening in China right now.
This is a very complicated situation. The only thing I can assure you of is that we will continue to cover it for you here, and Wendy will